I'm Chris from BikeReview.com.au, and today I'm here in Italy with Benelli's new TRK 502X. So this model actually features quite a number of updates on the regular TRK 502. This is the more off-road orientated. Benelli are saying that it's a light off-roader, and we've had the opportunity to do a little bit of testing across a whole variety of road conditions today. We even had a section where they just freshly laid the new road surface for us. We've done some Italian style lane splitting, which was quite interesting as well. And of course, we've had a really good look at the TRK 502X. Benelli have also told us that they're going to be introducing 3 model variants of their TRK. It sounds like there's going to be a 300, 502, and they're also working on developing an 800cc version, which is something quite exciting for those looking for that little bit more power. The Benelli 502X, the TRK 502X I should say, is a learner legal machine. It's 35 kilowatts, 48 horsepower. I have to say, I feel like the suspension's really quite good on this. It's got a fully adjustable rear, it's got Marzocchi front forks that are a little bit on the soft side, but overall, for mixed road conditions, really good. We had a lot of quite rough road conditions here in Italy that are quite similar to what we're going to get in Australia. So I have to say that that's going to be a real strong point. Nice and smooth. Obviously I'm about 70 kilos, so talking from my weight as a perspective. The brakes are good. They've made some changes to those. They've got the floating front rotors. You've got switchable ABS. You can switch off the rear for that more off-road orientated riding. So that's a great boon. It's got the higher exhaust. Obviously it's got the hand guards. It's just a well-spec'd machine. It's got plenty of things going for it, and I have to say I've been really impressed today. To be honest, I think it's going to be a really fun all-rounder for someone looking for that kind of adventure-style bike. So let's have a deeper look at Benelli's new TRK 502X. You've got a really nice parallel twin cylinder engine in this bike. It's also found in the Leoncino. However, obviously in this bike the gearing's a little bit different. There's a few changes. It doesn't feel quite as lively as in the Leoncino, but it's still a very nice smooth power plant. It'll pull from down low. Obviously you don't get that nice acceleration when you're really lugging it. However, it's still very user friendly because you can kind of be a gear or two too high and still roll on that throttle and expect power to come on. It revs right up to 8,000 RPM, and it'll really punt the bike along at a reasonable speed. I have to say, I was well and truly over the speed limits that you'd see here in Australia in 4th gear, and you've got an extra 2 gears, so you're going to have great cruising ability as well as plenty of performance to play around with. This is a learner legal motorcycle, so the performance is always going to be a little bit restrained compared to the larger capacity adventure bikes. That is just part of the package, and when you look at the price, which is $9,390 on the road, you can understand why there are going to be some limitations. Brakes on the front end, you've got 320mm rotors, so those are up from the standard 502. You've actually got 2 piston calipers instead of 4 piston calipers, and I found the braking performance considerably better. On this, it is a really nice braking system. You've got good brake performance on the rear as well, although obviously most of your braking is going to be on the front end. Another area that Benelli have really improved this machine is those Marzocchi forks. They have essentially been totally overhauled specifically for the X model. They offer much better performance in my opinion compared to the 502 that we tested. Both those forks and the now fully adjustable rear shock are longer travel suspension just to offer that more off-road orientated performance. I found on the road that essentially it was quite a sporty bike. The only time I really noticed there was kind of a little bit more of that travel and a bit of softness in the forks was going over gutters or big bumps. Generally speaking, it felt like quite a sporty tourer, and for the off-road you felt that longer travel, even though we only did a very small section, you felt that longer travel and you felt that there was quite a bit more softness built into that system. I have to say there was no points in time where I really felt that the suspension couldn't handle the road. Only over the worst bumps did I get kicked up out of the seat, and just the level of control and feel that was offered from both ends was really good. Overall, ergonomics and comfort are also a real strong point. The seat is quite high at 850mm, however, it is placing you in the bike instead of on it, so you feel very comfortable on the machine. There's a good stretch to the pegs, good stretch to the bars. You are quite upright, you're not really stretched out to any sporty extent, although it may look a little bit like that in the photos because we were heading along at quite a good pace. You've got plenty of room to move around, very, very comfortable, ideal for touring where you're going to be doing lots of hours in and lots of miles in the saddle. There's a whole number of features on this bike which help make it stand out, particularly when you're considering that price point of $9,390 on the road here in Australia. You've got a rear standard rack which is ready to take a top box. Givi are going to be producing panniers for this model. They can't use the regular 502 panniers because with the tall exhaust they won't fit. You've also got daytime running lights which look really, really cool, as you'll see from the pictures, and you've got crash bars which are very well made. They're quite sturdy, they're well mounted to the bike, so they're a great feature to have as a standard fitment. One thing I do just keep coming back to is the nose and the fairings on this bike, as well as the tank. They're very, very nicely styled. I have to say that Benelli have done an exceptional job on the styling of this bike, and the finish quality is really, really good as well, keeping in mind that this is produced in China. Other things which stand out are those Henley Racing spoked wheels, so they take a tubeless tyre, and they've been fitted with Tourance tyres for that more on and off-road performance. Obviously, if you're doing more road riding, you might put something a little bit more suited to the road. However, this is a compromised tyre which will do a little bit of everything. There's also good wind protection from that screen, which, as you'll be able to see from the pictures, is quite tall. I have to say, for touring, that is ideal. The dash is simple, there's a gear indicator, it's quite visible. The only time I had dramas was when I really had the sun in my eyes and there was a huge amount of contrast. So for a learner rider considering the Benelli TRK 502X, I really have to say it's a good option. It is a heavy bike. It's 235 kilos wet, and a lot of that weight is carried reasonably tall. You've also got that taller seat height, which means that if you're a shorter rider, you might struggle a bit. I think with road riding, for somebody about my height of about 180 centimeters, you'll probably find it good, but you'll also notice that if you park it on the wrong incline, it does require quite a bit of muscling to kind of get it turned around and pointed in the right direction. Once you're moving on the road, you don't feel that weight. It's got a very, very nice smooth engine, so that's great for new riders. The brakes are quite forgiving. There's not a heap of bite, but there's good modulation, there's good power. And just overall, as a learner bike, if you're looking for something that is adventure themed and looks really cool, it's definitely something which is going to tick all the boxes in a simple way. This doesn't have the electronics and the technology of the $20,000 bikes, but there's a reason for that. It's only $9,390 on the road. A lot of these same points apply to a more experienced rider looking at one of these machines, perhaps thinking that they'd like a much kind of more entry-friendly adventure bike to add to their stable, which can also do all the touring and commuting duties, because the TRK 502X is definitely capable of doing that. Like I said, weight's really the only concern. You've still got a great bike, it's a great all-rounder, it's got nice suspension, good brakes, it's got those nice spoked wheels on it, and it just does everything. It's got plenty of standard fittings that normally you'd probably be paying a little bit extra for, or quite a lot extra for, depending on whose other bike you're buying. And I have to say, it's definitely a bike that is worth going and trying out if you're in the market, because for the price, you really can't go wrong. So if you've liked the video, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like it, leave us a comment, let us know what you think, and thank you.